Hi, I'm Marisa, and in this piano lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play Now We Are Free from Gladiator by Hans Zimmer. And I will teach you the notes, the fingering, and the counting. To get the sheet music for this, there's a link in the description. I encourage you to get that sheet music so you can follow along and you can mark notes on the fingering and the notes and the counting as well. There's also a link to the performance of this piece so you can hear how it sounds all together. This lesson, the purpose is just to teach you, though, how to play it and how to approach it. So we are in the key of G minor for this arrangement. Here's a G minor scale. So we have two flats, B flat, E flat. So G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G. The left-hand accompaniment, the broken chords or arpeggios, are usually in either one or two different formations. So for the sake of consistency, I'm going to refer to it as pattern 1 or pattern 2. So I'll show you right now what I mean by each of those. So let's look at the first chord in left hand will be a G minor chord. So the notes of the G minor were G, B flat, D. And so what I'm doing here, I'm arranging it in a pattern of an octave. So G up to G with D in the middle, back down to the starting G. This time I'm reaching up an interval of a tenth to B flat. So again, what I did there was the first range was an octave from one G to the next, 8 notes apart with D in the middle. The second time though, I took that range up to, from the starting note G up at 10 notes or a tenth to B flat and kept D in the middle. Okay, so that's what we're going to refer to as pattern 1, where we have an octave range and then a tenth, playing one note at a time, always coming back to that middle note, which is the 5th tone of the chord. So for G, it was G, D, G, D, G, D, B flat, D. So again, that's pattern 1. Make a note of it so you understand every time I say pattern 1, what that pattern is. Okay, thankfully, the next measure, the next chord demonstrates pattern 2. So pattern 2 is where we have an elongated arpeggio or broken chord. So it's going to be a G minor chord. The ingredients are, sorry, did I say G minor? E flat major is what I meant. E flat, G, B flat. Those are the ingredients. And I'm going to play a low E flat. Here's the 5th note of the chord. Up an octave to a higher E flat. So there's an octave range, but then we cross over and play the 3rd tone of the chord, the 5th tone of the chord, back to the 3rd, back under to our octave, back down. So for E flat major, those notes were E flat, B flat, E flat crossover, G, B flat, G, E flat, B flat. Okay? Let's take a moment and go back to pattern 1. The fingering I would like you to use for pattern 1, and it's almost always the same, is 5, 2, 1, 2, 5, 2, 1, 2. Then the fingering I would like you to use for pattern 2 on this E flat chord, since we have mostly black keys for this chord, the most efficient fingering will be 5, 3, 2, 1, because that just helps us easily glide up. Then we'll cross over with finger 3, back to 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay? All right. So now we know pattern 1, pattern 2. So the first line of this arrangement is also the first phrase. And so the chords were pattern 1 on G minor, pattern 2 on E flat major, then we're going to do pattern 1 on E flat major. So E flat up to the octave, back down, then up to the 10th. Notice I changed the fingering a bit here on this one. So I played 5, 2, 1, then 5, 3, 1 to help me propel up more easily to that 10th. Then we're going to play pattern 1 on F major. And that's our first phrase, our first line. So with the right hand melody, it will begin, here is middle C, go up an octave to treble C, 1 note higher is D. We begin on D. And so we will have D, G, B flat, C, cross over with finger 3 to B flat, then play A with finger 2. Let's put it together, counting. So we have 4 beats in a measure. The left hand is playing an 8th note pattern. So we count it 1 and 2 together on and, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That is the first phrase. I encourage you, pause here and practice that a few times till you have the right notes, the fingering, and the counting. Correct fingering is super important because it will help your technique sound beautiful and your playing to flow very nicely as well. Then when you're ready, we'll go on to line 2 or phrase 2. So we're going to have pattern 1 on F major in left hand. Then pattern 2 on G minor. Cross over with finger 3 to B flat, then D, B flat, back under to G with 1. And then the next measure is a little different. We're going to play G, D, just up to the octave, back down to D, then just shift to F, keep D in the middle, then F on top. And then the next measure is pattern 1, E flat major. Okay. Then with the right hand, the melody is treble C, D, F, then G and B flat together, fingers 1 and 3, then 2 and 4 on F and A, and then E flat G with 1 and 3. Counting here will be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, we are on to the next line and phrase. It will be pattern 1, E flat major in the left hand. We've done this one a couple times now. Then down to pattern 2 on C minor chord. So C, G, C, cross over 3 on E flat, 1 on G, E flat, cross back under to C, G, and then pattern 1 on that C chord. So up to the octave and then up to the 10th. And then we have pattern 1 on F major. Let's add the right hand to that line. Okay, so let us remember treble D for the melody, G, B flat. Then we move down to a sixth, E flat with C together, fingers 1 and 5. And then I want you to play 1 and 4 on D and B flat, and then down to C and A with 1 and 5. Okay? With the left hand there, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right. This is the last phrase of section 1. Left hand will move down to a D minor chord, pattern 1. And then pattern 2 for G minor. So up to the octave, cross over to B flat with finger 3, then D, B flat, back under to G, D, then pattern 1 on G minor. And then the last measure will be just 4 quarter notes. G, D, B flat, D. Okay? The melody for this part is A, G, F, G. So pretty simple there. So together, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, this leads us into the middle section. So we are, we've practiced a third of the piece. We're on to the next part, the middle part. The right hand plays the same melody, but it has big embellished chords to make the sound rich. So we have that top melody. Those are the top notes of the chords we're going to play. So here's the first chord. Top note D is the melody note, then G, and then B flat. Okay? So this chord is a G minor chord, G, B flat, D, with a D on bottom, with fingers 1, 2, 3, 5. From there, we go up. So we're just inverting that G minor chord. We have 1, 2, 3, 5 on G, B flat, D, G. We invert it again. This time we have on bottom B flat, D, G, B flat with 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay, so those 3 chords, practice them with the correct fingering. Then they move into a C minor chord. C, E flat, G, C, 1, 2, 3, 5. We will hold this for 6 beats. And then it moves down to an E flat major chord. It has a B flat on bottom, E flat, G, B flat with 1, 2, 3, 5. From there, we move down to an inverted F major chord. A on bottom, then C, F, A. 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay, so that's the end of that phrase. Let's go back and see what the left hand's doing. So with those chords, the first measure, left hand just does something a little simpler. It's just going to rock back and forth between the octave notes. So from G to G, that's my octave. I still have my D in the middle. I'm just going to rock back and forth between them, which is nice and simple. So with the right hand chords, we have 1 and 2 together on and, 3 and 4 and. Then when I move into the C minor chord, left hand will play pattern 2 on E flat. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then pattern 1 on E flat, 1 and 2, and on the next beat, together 3 and 4, and let's pause there for a second. I said pattern 1, but actually we don't go higher than the octave. So that was also just rocking back and forth between our octave, which was E flats, with B flat in the middle, okay? So let's go back to that big C chord with pattern 2. We had 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then just rock 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and now left hand will just rock with Fs, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and great. So on to the next phrase of this section. Chords in the right hand are F major, F, A, C, C on bottom, fingering 1, 2, 3, 5. To D minor with 1, 2, 3, 5, up to F major, also 1, 2, 3, 5. Then we go down to an inverted G minor chord. So B flat, D, G, B flat with 1, 2, 4, 5. We'll hold that 6 beats. Then we're going to keep D in the middle and just play an A octave with it. Then we move down to an inverted E flat major chord. G, B flat, E flat, G, 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay, for that phrase, the left hand with it, we get a rock with Fs, C in the middle, and then we'll have pattern 2 on G minor, rock the Gs, and then just go down to F, keep D in the middle. And then we go down to pattern 1 on E flat major. Okay, so hands together for this phrase. Fs. Sorry, I should count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then together 1 and 2. Right hand's gonna get out of the way so left hand can cross over. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so for those 3 measures, notice that the right hand sometimes has to lift, get out of the way so left hand can play, but don't worry because your pedal will hold out those right hand tones so it will sound seamless. Okay, moving on to the next phrase. We're almost through this section. We'll have a G minor chord. D, G, B flat, D. 1, 2, 3, 5, up to inverted E flat major. G, B flat, E flat, G. 1, 2, 4, 5. Then another inversion. B flat, E flat, G, B flat. 1, 2, 3, 5. Then that goes down to C minor. You're going to hold that for a long 6 beats. Then down to E flat major, B flat, E flat, G, B flat. 1, 2, 3, 5. And then down to inverted F major with A, C, F, A. 1, 2, 4, 5. Let's go over the left hand for those few measures that we just learned. So left hand's going to rock between E flats with B flat in the middle, down to pattern 2 on C minor, crossover 3 on E flat, G, E flat back under, then pattern 1 on C minor, reaching up for that 10th here, and then pattern 1 on F major, the octave, and then the 10th. Okay, hands together for that part. So we had 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 last few measures of this section. Then we have a D minor chord, A, D, F, A, 1, 2, 3, 5. Then I'm going to have you keep your thumb on A and keep D in the middle. Just bring your pinky down, top note down to G, then top note down again to F. So in that measure, we had a big D minor chord with 4 notes. Then we reduce it to 3 notes, keeping A and D on bottom and middle, top note G here, then top note F. And then we finish on inverted G minor, which is B flat, D, G with 1, 2, 5. And so that's for those 2 measures there. Left hand, we're rocking between the Ds with A in the middle. Then pattern 1 on G minor. Okay, so together there we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and right hand gets out of the way, 4 and 1. Left hand repeats this pattern, 2 and 3 and 4 and one more measure, but with just quarter notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we are in our last section now, which is just a nice little repeat pretty much of the first section. We're back to a single note melody in the right hand. Instead of being up here on this high D, we just move it down closer to middle C, starting on D here. We're going to play it with pattern 1 for G minor, just like we started with. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then pattern 2, E flat, left hand, and C, middle C and right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then pattern 1 on E flat for left hand. 1 and 2 and cross over to B flat with finger 3, 3 and 4 and pattern 1 on F in left hand and finger 2 on A in right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then pattern 1 on F in left and middle C in right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now G minor, pattern 2 and left hand and B flat in right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and so I was just rocking between the G's here, and then I'm going to drop it down to F's and I will play A with that, 3 and 4 and then I will drop down to E flats, pattern 1 and G right hand, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and repeat the melody in the right hand and play it with E flats, pattern 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and pattern 2, C minor, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and here's pattern 1 in left hand. So right hand's going to cross over to B flat, 3 and 4 and now F, pattern 1 with A in right hand, 1 and 2 and 3 Now left hand's going to rock between the Ds with A in the middle. Right hand plays A with finger 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the finish line. G in the right hand, G minor, pattern 2, left hand. 1 and 2, right hand gets out of the way. 3, sorry, let's try that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, hold 2, 3, 4, and you are done. So please remember to practice this section by section, more specifically line by line, always checking your notes, your fingering, your counting, making sure you're developing the right habits with your playing. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I hope you enjoy this beautiful piece. Thank you, Hans Zimmer, for creating such amazing music. I'll see you at the next lesson.